Hi, everybody. Good morning or good evening, wherever you are, whatever time it is. So now we're going on with Ma'amar Heichotzu from the Fifth Lubavitcher Rebbe, talking about the source of Sinat Chinam, the source of hating people for no reason. And we've been talking about the source of that is the fact that we're full of ourselves. to put it colloquially, but that's the truth. But full of ourselves in such a subtle sense, the fact that people actually believe they exist. What do I mean by that? As we've explained in the past, that if a person believes they exist in an independent sense, we don't really exist in an independent sense. That Hashem is making us exist in every single moment. There's only one thing that really exists ultimately, meaning independent, that nothing else has to generate into existence. That's Hashem. Can you imagine, just to really appreciate this today, we're going to go very deep in the next few weeks on this. Imagine a Pinocchio. I think someone made a book or a movie about this idea. Because I once said this idea and someone said, oh, there's a book or a movie like that. Imagine like Pinocchio that you make in the figment of your imagination, right? Like you kind of make like a stick figure doll or whatever it is, a Pinocchio, a puppet. But in your imagination, not like in woodshop in high school, right? Imagine that thing. You have to lose a lot of imagination for this, maybe a little bit of wine. So imagine that this Pinocchio thing says, hey, this is cool. I really exist. As a matter of fact, I'm going to defy the will of this guy, Zeph, who thinks that he's imagining me into existence at every single moment. I know better. I really exist. If you could imagine such a silly scenario. But that's exactly the truth. That's what we are. We exist, as it were, internal to God's imagination. We walk around thinking we really exist. We walk around thinking that we can do whatever we want to. Now there's a lot of paradoxes and things that are hard to really grok totally in that. But as soon as a person thinks they really exist in an ultimate sense, in the same way Hashem exists as an independent existence, that's the beginning of the end in terms of one's ability to serve Hashem properly, to grow spiritually, to be truly loving. Because why? What's that have to do with being loving? As we're going to discuss in great length, being loving is not like one mitzvah of 613 is everything. Because what prevents being truly loving? It's when one feels threatened by the mere existence of other people. If a person feels that they really exist, then what happens is, as soon as another person walks in the door, as we've said many times in the past in this analysis, he's taking up my airspace. Jenny, bringing my air. That's my air. Stop it. Right? But if I understand I don't ultimately exist, that's the ultimate humility, not in the sense of a neurotic humility, of a low self-esteem, that kind of thing. It's in the sense of a true humility, which is actually very empowering and where a person feels very comfortable in their own skin, right? Neurotic, lack of self-esteem, a person is paralyzed, they can't do anything in life. True humility, I'll just say one more sentence and then we'll read the next chapter. You sometimes wonder, someone who is takes a lot of risks to do something good. Whatever. I'm going to name names. Is that okay? My good friend Rob Mendy. So, see, I'm kind of risk-averse person. And when I'm on the couch in Larry's office over there, I tell him all about it. I kind of like the idea of being hired, getting a paycheck. I keep on praying that paychecks will keep coming. You never know. So that was a subtle hint recorded for posterity. So, that's not the way Rob Mendy works. Rob Mendy is an entrepreneur, Torah entrepreneur, right? That means you just come into a town and you want to help other people, and you just hope everything's going to work out. And you know that famous movie, I forgot what it's called, where, if you build it, he will come. It's about baseball.
Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams, right? That's, wow. Hey, let's just do a program. Let's make a Hebrew school. Let's make a this. Let's make a that. Wait a second. Let's get the money first. No, I don't know. We'll just do it first. Hope someone can pay for it. Worry about that later. I mean, I can't function that way. But that takes a tremendous amount of humility. Why? Because a person has to feel not vulnerable and not threatened. You see, if you feel very like life is on the verge of disaster at every moment, then it's very hard to dare. It's very hard to dare because you feel so vulnerable and scared. Life is very scary. But if a person feels humble in the spiritual sense, that, hey, I'm a figment of God's imagination. What do I have to worry about? God will take care of it. His imagination will take care of it. My existence is not, I'm not in charge of my existence. My raw existence is in Hashem's mind, right? So what the heck? Excuse my language. I'll just do it. I'm just going to do it because I'm not worried about my existential reality at every single second. I'm not worried about my existence, right? Just going to do it. Whatever happens, happens. Just going to do it. That's an amazing, amazing, empowering trait. So this is at it's the infrastructure, the fundamental infrastructure of the ability to be affecting in the world, of the ability to be effective in so many different levels. It's unbelievable. And of course, it expresses itself in the ability to get along with other people. I'm not threatened. You walk in the room, I'm not threatened. You're an inspiration for me. The way you're davening, the way you fulfill mitzvot, your kindness, whatever you do. I don't feel jealous and resentful and then have to attack you and belittle you and say, well, the person's really a hypocrite. Right? They don't. No. You're not breathing my air. I'm small, but not small in the pathological sense or neurotic sense. I'm small in a deeply Kabbalistic sense because I'm a figment of God's imagination, as it were. Okay, so now it's gone to Yud Zayin. Now you'll have to remember now 17 chapters back. Do you remember, it's hard to remember this, that the whole thing started out by trying to understand what the Torah says when God tells Moshe, I know you're about to push up daisies. You're about to croak. But I got one last job for you. You have to battle against Midian. So everybody, Moshe, you can communicate this to the Jews. Rally for the battle. Go out and avenge the avengance. God says of Israel. God and Moshe changed it to Nikmat Hashem, the vengeance of the Lord. Moshe tells the Jewish people, avenge the vengeance of the Lord against Midian. All of you rally to the battle. And then the author asked a lot of questions on that. You need Moshe for that? Hire Petraeus or Zev, Colonel Zev. Or how about Yehoshua bin Nun? He's available, commander-in-chief. He's going to lead the battle. Why did Moshe change it to Nikmat Hashem instead of Nikmat Yisrael, the vengeance of the Lord versus the vengeance of Israel? Moshe actually changed the formulation there. Why does it say, Hey Chaltzu, all of you rally? All of you. Shana's going to stay at home. She's a lady. Ladies stay at home, right? Not everybody goes to battle. Not all the men go to battle. Old geezers like Zev to stay at home, right? The draft age is, there's a minimum and a maximum. Not everybody goes out to battle. So why is it Echaltzu as if everybody's going out? So these are all questions that were asked in the very beginning, the first chapter. Now we're equipped to really answer them deeply. Yud Zayin, chapter 17, you have the Hebrew and the English in front of you. V'zeu inyan klipat midyan. When the Torah describes that we're supposed to battle against Midian. Everything in the Torah is on multiple levels. There is a nation called Midian, but it's not just a historical nation. That Midian represents a spiritual force. Everything that exists in the world represents a spiritual force. Midian represents, next few words, Lashon Madonu Miriva. They represent quarrelsomeness, fighting. I remember reading an article in Chassidut Judaic. It was talking about a famous rabbi. I won't mention his name. He happened to be, there's people that are not everybody's warm and fuzzy. There's some people who like to quarrel. They're kind of like little sharp edge. I'm sure you met people like that before. And the article said, he was sort of known for kind of being a little bit argumentative. And then it said, but when all else failed, he would resort to a peaceful means of solving a problem. That was kind of funny. When all else fails. Midian is the very essence of being divisive, argument. Shehu inyan apirivit chalkut. When person engaged, they're always fighting with people. That is the concept of division, separation. Ki inyan sinat chinam anal, like we described, hating people for no reason, divisiveness. Now we know why Moshe said we're going to avenge Nikmat Hashem, the vengeance of Yud Kei Vav Kei, Hashem's four-letter name, because Hashem's four-letter name represents ultimate unity. So fighting against Midian is in order to restore unity. It's trying to find an antidote to divisiveness. That's why Shem Hashem. Now, we're going to talk very deeply in the next chapter about the difference between the name Yud Kei Vav Kei, the four-letter name of Hashem, and the name Elokim, that name of Hashem. We're going to talk very deeply. It's going to get Kabbalistic about what those two names represent and why it is that the name Yud Kei Vav Kei represents unity. And since we're trying to cure divisiveness, what threatens divisiveness? What threatens unity? Divisiveness. So Yud Kei Vav Kei, the ultimate unity, is threatened by Midian. So it's Nikmat Hashem. It's vengeance on behalf of unity against Midian, divisiveness. Shehu bichinat hayichud v'kalut dafka. That name Yud Kei Vav Kei represents unity and synthesizing all the parts together. Uklipat Midian hu aminaged lazer legamre, and the force of Midian is the opposite. V'garu yoter me'ashiva amamin. Now, you know that there's going to be a battle against the 7 Canaanite nations, but who's going to lead that battle in the Torah?
Israel.
Israel's gonna fight the battle. Who's gonna be the military chief against the 7 Canaanite nations? Yoshua. So Yehoshua can fight against the 7 Canaanite nations, but not against Midian. That needs Moshe. Why? Because Midian is much more serious of an enemy than the 7 Canaanite nations. That's what he's saying here. Shehein Hashem Midot Raot. You know that according to Kabbalah, we have the 3 intellectual sfirot, 3 intellectual midot, Chochmah, Bina, Dat, the 3 intellectual, right? And then the 7 deep in our personality, which are the Chesed, Gvurot, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod Yesod, the lower 7 of the sfirot that come from Hashem and manifest themselves in our personality. You know that every single one of those sfirot, Chesed, translate kindness, these don't do justice to what they really are. Gvura, strength, Chesed, Tiferet, splendor, whatever that means in terms of the character. Every one of those things, those are nice words. They sound good, right? Chesed, kindness, Gvura, strength, Tiferet, splendor. Every one of those has a negative expression. You can have an impure and evil expression of those 7. Those are called the Sheva Midot Ra'ot, the 7 negative expressions of those character traits. You know why there are 7 Canaanite nations? It's not a coincidence that there are 7 bad character traits, the 7 negative permutations of those 7 character traits of our personality, and there happen to be 7 Canaanite nations, because each of the 7 Canaanite nations is an embodiment of one of the 7 negative character traits. Like lust, anger. I was pretending to be angry. I've got an anger management problem. I never get angry. Ritzicha, you want to murder people. Okay. Gava, haughtiness. Right? These are just examples of the 7 negative character traits. Every one of those 7 character traits is embodied by each one of the 7 Canaanite nations. Each one of the 7 Canaanite nations represents one of those bad character traits. You see, each one of those 7 character traits injures the divine name, and it's an assault on the divine name. Each one of those separately. Just like if you do one of the 365 prohibitions in the Torah, it's an assault on Hashem's name. It assaults and attacks and injures one specific level. Now, we're sort of running out of time here, so I'm just going to say one sentence, kind of anticipating. We'll continue after Shavuot. See, that's not true when it comes to the sin of sinat chinam, a baseless hatred. It's not injuring one specific aspect of God's name. It's not an expression of one specific negative attribute. Those are the Canaanite nations. Each one of those is a separate bad character trait. Sinat chinam is mega. It's the universal evil that includes everything. It's a frontal assault on Hashem's name, not chipping away at one aspect of Hashem's name. That's why it takes not Yehoshua, it takes something more. On that note, we will continue Bezrat Hashem after